Okay, thank you everyone for coming back in. We, as you know, we have a free account. So if it's oh, somebody's got music on. Joed, is that you? All right. So we'll finish our conversation with Alma. So Alma, do you want to finish what you're saying? Or is Alma back? Let me make sure. She might not know to come back. So I'll just have to email her. But anyway, so Joed, do you have any interview?
Hello, Doc. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good morning in your place.
Yes, yes. Joed, you have an interview, right? I think I remembered your name being said by somebody.
Yes, I've had an interview last week with Lee High School.
Okay, how did it go?
It goes with, it runs smoothly, but they've emailed me 3 days after, and they've said that they filled the position.
Oh, sorry. But that was a good practice for
It's
you,
okay,
though. For the
Doc.
interview. Well, that was a good practice.
Yes.
Look at it that way. Do not.
There were 2 interviewers.
Okay.
The principal and the department head of science in their school.
Okay. Well,
And
yeah. And they what?
And they've interviewed me for about 20 minutes.
Okay.
And they've thrown me 8 questions regarding with teaching philosophy, with regards to teaching strategies I've used, with regards to my field of specialization, and they've got to know me, what are my educational background, and they've asked me if they know the school, if I know the school they've had, and I've answered all those questions, but that was my first time got an interview, so I've got nervous then.
Okay, well that's okay. If you get nervous, tell them I'm nervous. Sorry if I am
yes.
if I'm acting nervous, I am nervous. I just want to tell you that.
Yes, Doc.
I
told them.
Okay, that's good. But the thing is with science, how did you answer it when they were asking you specific question about science? What did you say?
I told them that we got some innovations with regards to teaching the Sally with so we've got something to innovate just for the learners to learn and to have these materials localized and contextualized.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense because they would not know what you're meaning by that. So we might want to do something specific. For example, like real life examples. Like for example, you might want to say, my students had questions about, and a good example is like somebody who had a question about in the community, there was a water leak. And my students did some experiments on the best materials to fix the leak, which means that you're actually solving problems in the community, because that's what science is solving problems in the world, solving problems in the community. So if your answers are like that, then it makes better. It sounds better than what you just said. You said it perfectly, but it's not specific. And I always say specific is terrific.
Yes, Doc. I've got so nervous. I don't know what to say, anything, because there are questions who are very fast and they've talked to me a lot, and I cannot figure out some of the questions.
Kaon lang. You know what? If you don't understand, clarify. Can you please explain some more? Tell me more about the question. Elaborate more. Can you please elaborate more?
Yes.
You can ask for that. So don't be nervous, like, I don't know. And don't be afraid to say, I do not know. But I know that if I ask Dr. McCullough, if I ask whatever, that I would, if I ask my peers, I think I'll be able to get back with you. I could email it to you. If you don't know, don't act like you know everything, because we don't. And if somebody asks questions and I don't know, I am not too proud to say, you know what, I'm sorry, that's not part of my expertise, but but I know some people that could answer that, so don't be afraid to say, I don't know, okay? Because nobody knows, everything in this world, okay? So, but it is kind of add something that okay, that I know.
They've thrown, yes. They throw me questions very fast right after we may answer another question. I cannot process.
Well, you can tell them that. You need to say, I'm sorry, but as an ESL, English is a second language to me. So I am an ESL,
Yes.
an ELA. So please slow down. You can tell them that. Please slow down, because we they want to know that you can understand English. They want to know that they hire somebody that could teach their students. But it is
yes.
okay to slow down. Okay, and that's very, very common here. When you first come here, yung mga the people that are the teachers that are coming in here first, they had the same problem. One of the that was Christine's cousin, Marie Chris, said, "Oh, Miss Merlina, the first month, the first week, I think she said, the only thing that she understood in the announcement was thank you at the end." They were just like eating. Yeah, they were like
yeah, they've got they talk so fast.
Yeah.
And
yes,
some of the questions I tried to say to the principal na, pardon sir. I cannot figure out the questions. I cannot answer directly because the questions are too vague for me to understand and to analyze.
Well, you tell them, clarify it for me. Can you please clarify? Can you give me an example? Elaborate for me? Use those words, okay? Because then you are giving the work back to them to make it clear for you.
Yes.
Okay, so don't be afraid to ask them that, because they'll appreciate that you have that confidence to ask them that. And that goes to all of you. If you do not know because of how they ask it, can you please ask it a different way? You might want to say, okay? And it's okay to say that. Because they have to remember that they have to slow down, because English is a second language to us. It's not our native tongue. So they have to give us a little break. Okay? All right? So good luck on it.
Doc.
That's fine. I mean, don't be discouraged at all. I mean, I have some people that had interviewed 5 or 6 times. You might want to reflect on, okay, what could I have done differently? Like maybe on your next.
Yes, Doc.
If you have some.
That was a good experience for me.
Yeah.
Because that was my first interview.
Okay.
It was a good experience. And the last thing that they've asked me is, what is my question with regards to their school? So I've tried to ask what are the certain professional development I've got if
if hired. Okay.
I'll be having the chance to be hired.
Okay.
And they tell me the hours with regards to professional development with their teachers, with the faculty and staff in their school. So that's great. That's awesome.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. And thank them. And did you email them to thank them after your interview?
Yes, Doc. I emailed them. Thank you letter. I tell them that it was a great opportunity with me that I have with them with an interview, and it was a great chance for me that they've got interviewed, and they've also replied me that thank you also for the time and the effort they have given me. So that's it. And then right after 3 days, they emailed me, and they are also open for another opportunity to come if there were vacancies in their school. They can also revisit with regards to my application for any vacant positions.
Are good words. That means that they actually liked you. They just that for that particular field, they got somebody else local or somewhere else. But for them to say that makes
Doc.
That makes it that they like you. Okay. And the background, you might want to put like a curtain or something in the background. It's kind of busy.
I have here, Doc, a green background.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. I hope you did that on your interview. That is much better.
Yes, Doc.
Yeah,
I prepared this with my interview.
Yes, perfect. That's what I say to everybody. Okay, just don't be busy, because instead of me listening to you, I'm like looking at your background. Like, okay, what is that? So you may want them to listen to you fully by having a good, clear background. Okay. All right. Well, good luck on your next one.
Yes.
Let me know if I can help.
Thank you, Doc.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Okay. Anybody else had an interview scheduled? Because it's good to have that little practice. Anybody that want to practice? Any volunteers? Is Maricel back? Did we lose her? Maricel, you're back. Yes. Maricel, you're new.
Yes.
I mean, so can you talk to us? Can we see you?
Wait, Mom.
She's gonna fix her background, I bet. She's gonna say, okay, she's gonna say something about my background. Okay, Maricel, there you go. You're kind of a little busy, but it's okay. But if you have a busy background,
Hello.
try to make sure that you are wearing.
Hello. Good day.
Marisol, you have a busy background.
I just
So you have a solid. Okay.
no.
Yeah.
I'm in sala.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I
I'm
think
in our sala.
yeah, the blanco with the picture would be better. Yes, perfect. Because see, now I can see you. A while ago with your busy
Yeah,
background.
actually, I have a room.
Good, perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, I have a room prepared for interview. But right now, I just received a message from a friend from Joanna. Also an applicant for teaching in the US, and then she gave me this email of yours.
Okay.
So I hope you remember that this week I sent you all those the list of requirements that you asked from me.
Yeah,
I think that was
I did. I had a bunch of things from you. Yep, I remembered your last name. Yeah, how do you say your last name? Hermosilia? Is that what you say?
It's Hermosilia. I'm from Hermosilia. I'm from Cebu, Philippines. So I'm Bisaya also.
Bisaya dito. Bisaya man sagot, taga Lapu-Lapu man ko. I mean, actually, my mom is from Carter.
From Danao. I'm from Danao, Mom.
Oh, the north. Oh, north. Eka. Oh, kawan naman Mandawi me. So from Karkar, when I was about 4 years old, we moved to Cebu, and then Cebu, then to Mandawi, and then Lapu-Lapu, and that's where we are in Lapu-Lapu. So we have a couple of houses there, but yeah. So anyway, so Marisol, let me put you in a spot. Let me pretend that I am the interviewer, and I'm gonna say, tell me something about yourself. Can you answer?
My name is Maricel Hermosilia. I am 40 years old. I'm a public secondary teacher here in the Philippines. I've been teaching for over 18 years. I've been connected in the junior high school, and currently for the past 5 years, I'm currently connected in the senior high school department. So I've been teaching social sciences subjects or social study subjects. So I'm handling Philippine history, Asian history, world history, and economics, depending on the teaching load that I will be assigned for a particular school year. But again, for the past 5 years, it's most of it are subjects in the senior high school, but social sciences subjects.
Okay.
And right now, I'm really hoping for a teaching position in the United States, hoping that I could look for greener pasture where I could also grow with my profession, personally and professionally.
Good job. I like that. I like your answer. You might want to just skip your age. Asking for age is illegal anyway. They cannot ask you that. So do not volunteer it, because you do not want to give them something that will give the others an advantage. You know, okay? So don't say your age. I would not. And it's up to you, of course, but you know, I would recommend, especially if you're over 40, don't say anything. You know, for the young ones, it's very obvious. You know, Christine's very young. It's very obvious. You don't have to say your age, but that's really not relevant. you know, because with your experience, that's more important. You say how many years of experience, they can do their math, but that's more powerful to say about your experience. You forgot to say something about your degrees, what degree you have, especially if you have master's degrees.
Yeah, I graduated in Civil Normal University with a degree program in Bachelor of Arts in Social Science, and I also earned my master's degree in the same university last 2020 in Master of Arts in Social Studies.
Congratulations. Yeah, it's important to say that, especially if you have your master's degree. That's a big, okay? So because not everybody gets that master's degree. So make sure you include that. And if you have like, if you have played sports or willing to coach a sport, you know, I was a chess coach for years. So in my interviews, I always include that, because that's something a little extra that you can give, that like, oh, let's hire this one because we need a chess coach, you know, something like that. So you might want to include that also at the end if you have any extracurricular activity that you are willing to help. You might not, you might say things like, I may not want to be the main coach, but I'll be willing to help. I'll be willing to.
Is it okay also to include, mom, that like I've been an advisor in the student council in the student government or school?
Good. Yeah, I would include those things. Yeah, if there's anything at all, like some kind of achievement or leadership that you have, I would include that, because it tells that, oh, you're a person that goes above and beyond. I would definitely include that. And I like the way you ended it, that you wanted to grow professionally and personally. That is a really good thing to say. Okay. Do you have that link?
Mom, but my only concern, mom, like I'm a social studies. I've tried applying to what J1 sponsoring visa is this in South Carolina. They're concerned. They're very particular of in my transcript that I should have American history. And sad to say that in the Philippines, it's not it is not exclusively offered. Maybe for BA history, so it's one of the subjects. It's American history, but for my degree program, but I've known also graduate in social studies and social science here in the Philippines who happen to also grab a teaching opportunity, particularly in Arizona.
Okay.
But I understand that there are also states that are very specific to, like, you must have this American history in the transcript.
Yeah, agencies are strict anyway, but don't worry about that. Whenever the school asks you, you might want to say, or you might want to do this first. You might want to research about American history and have a read it, even if you read it in Wikipedia. Excuse me. And be aware of it, like the history about the what were the the presidents, for example, Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president, and all these the famous presidents that we have, what have they done. So you might want to start with the American Revolution, against England first, and then go work all the way up to World War II, World War I, II, and so on. So you might want to read about those major things. So that way,
because I've tried in Faces, mom, Faces in South Carolina, and my application was turned down because schools will look into the transcript, and I should have this subject or American history, but I don't have that one in my transcript.
Do you have a school in the Philippines at all that offers that? Because everything's online now, Everything's online now. You can actually take, when you come to the US, we come to Arkansas, for example, there is an Arkansas Ideas. Everybody needs to take note of this. AR Ideas, and that is a place, a portal. That is a portal with all this professional development, courses that's free to Arkansas teachers. And so you might want to say things like, if I understand it correctly from Dr. McCullough, that you have Arkansas Ideas, a portal for PDs. I would definitely be loading up on American history. You could say that. That way it shows that you're willing to learn. But at the same time, right now, you need to be Googling. You need to Google, and you need to learn as much as you can on the major, you might want to put major events in US history. That way you can
actually, mom, last year I I've been interviewed by a school in Arizona, in Page Middle School, and I was just telling them that I'll be ready for myself for the subject, though I don't have this in the description in my transcript, American history, but I was giving them the assurance that I'll have to be prepared and be ready with the subject. And sad to say, it was ending of the year, and most of the visa sponsors, uh, they're no longer slots for the visa, so it
They
did
don't-
not pursue. Yes.
Well, the thing is, schools can actually sponsor you. Schools can be a sponsor. So they don't have to use the agency at all. So that should not stop you. It should say, are you willing to sponsor me? But do not point out that you have a weakness on this, that you don't have US history. Do not point that out, okay? Let them figure that out, but you do not volunteer that information because you're just giving them a stick to hit you, okay? So make sure that you do not, like, I have a friend that used to be a policeman, and he used to work for me at the school. He became a doctor in statistics. He was telling me, Merlina, that the problem with people answering questions is that they don't just give me answers, they give you extra. And the extra things you give them are things that they could also ask you more questions that could trip you. So whatever they're asking you, answer it well, and stop. Okay, because if you give them this extra things, that's just something that they're gonna trap you. Okay, so just give them facts, just the facts, mom, just the facts. Okay, all right. So how many interviews have you had?
Just once, ma'am. From that school, from Arizona.
Okay, so how did you reflect, like, what do you think you could have done differently, that you felt like, I didn't do as well on this, I need to do better on this? What?
Well, if I have to remember, if I have to recall that interview, I think it went smoothly. After 3 days or 2 days, I got the reply. I get the job offer, but then the problem is really because they're really um looking if my agency can tap a visa sponsor. I think they cannot sponsor
Okay.
uh, the applicant. So they're asking me if my agency can tap to a visa sponsor. So it's the HTP, but I think the HTP had this problem with the school. So they're mentioning about like the school did not pass something like something like accreditation. It's mentioning about accreditation. So
All right.
yeah.
So everybody, including you, everybody, you need to say this. If J1 visa does not work anymore, like you don't have a sponsor, something like that, something's wrong, you need to say, is it possible for the school to sponsor me directly using H1B visa? And H1B visa is something that is better than J1, because that is actually the first thing you do before you get your green card. So that is actually a path towards green card. And so H1B visa, they can actually do a premium processing. A premium processing means that madali ba, they're hurrying, and in 2 weeks they'll know, but they pay $2,500, but they can use their Title II funds. And Title II funds is something that all the schools get, and they can use that money for this. So you might want to say this, you can quote me. You can say, Dr. McCullough mentioned something about using Title II funds in order to pay for premium processing for H1B. That way you know exactly if I'm approved in 2 weeks. So that might be something. How I know that is because I have links already, but also my brother-in-law works for immigration. So he tells me things. He does not process Philippine application. He processes a Mexican application, but he gives me all this immigration information. So that helps me, that helps me update on what's going on. If there's a limit already, like he would tell me, oh, there's a cap already, you might want to tell them about this, certain month or whatever. So he would tell me if I ask him questions. So yeah, remember everybody, take notes down, H1B visa. Okay, H1B visa is professional. There's a little under professional. You actually could, if you have your master's degree and above, or if you have 2 masters, doctorate, whatever, you can actually start the application yourself. because you are a professional. You are professional. So anybody with master's degree, you can actually start the, if you look at that information, you can Google H-1B visa form. You put it in quotation mark, and then look at instructions and look at it carefully, that you follow it. Because I think if I remembered it correctly, you started, and then the last part of that is when a school offers you a job, then they will, you know, that will kind of get in then. But you can actually start the process yourself. Okay.
Even if there's no employer yet. Even
Not
if there's no employer yet.
I don't want to tell you wrong, but anyway, but I think that if I remembered it correctly, when I read the forms, it said that the applicant can start this themselves. H-1B.
Because it's a common knowledge, ma'am. Actually, it's a common knowledge among Filipino applicants that for between J1 and H1B, it's quite complicated if you will avail the H1B. So that's why most of the schools would really prefer a J1 because it would be easier and faster.
But that's before premium processing. Now that there's available premium processing, it's actually faster than J1 because it's 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks. Is this Joy? Okay, so you might want that's pretty new, the premium processing. So that will make it faster than J1 actually. But the problem is you have to pay 2,500, and you really want the school to pay for that, not you. That's a lot of money. Okay, so you might just mention Title II funds and mention premium processing. Okay.
Title II funds.
Title II. Title II. All right. Okay. Well, good luck on your next one. So I hope that you do.
Hoping, Mom. I'm really hoping, Mom, this year. I'm really waiting. Like,
yeah. Well, you know, some of them, like I thought, Christine, are you still there? Is Christine here still? Okay, Christine, tell them about how long after you send me your application until you get the interview and you got hired. How long?
Well, actually, praise God and thank you so much, Dr. Merlina. 2 days before a month, week before it takes a month nga, I started, I send my application to you, then yun po, na-interview po ako, and then I get hired.
Yeah.
So mga 2 days before po, yes po, the date where I send the application. I submitted the resume and the cover letter.
2 days.
Yeah, that's
the fastest.
Yes.
But you know what, Mom, I also, feel discouraged because of my degree program. Good for Ma'am Christina because she's special education, and that's very in demand in US.
Po. English po ako.
High school English.
Higher English, okay.
Yes po.
Yeah. There's always a need. You know, what I noticed is that if you're teaching social studies, a lot of the social studies teachers here are also coaching. That's why it was encouraging you to say something about coaching, because I found out why, because I was trying to discover why are these coaches getting social studies, because when you get a degree in social studies here, the least number of like courses for your major is social studies. There's like 1 or 2 less than science and the other ones. So that the coaches have been getting those. And then some of them could not actually pass the test for Arkansas. And what they do is they take the Mississippi test. And then after they pass the Mississippi, which is a lower score, then they would get a reciprocity to change your license from Mississippi to Arkansas. That's what some coaches here have done, and a bunch of them are social studies majors. So I would recommend you going to schoolsprings.com, schoolsprings.com, one word, schoolsprings.com, and look at Arkansas and look at those with the coaches and the social studies. And you just say, I'm not very comfortable of being the main coach, but I'll be willing to be an assistant coach and be trained. You can say that, okay? And you can do boys and girls. And so to get the job, if they're needing a coach and something else, they'll work with you. If you're willing to coach, they're going to work with you. Okay. And I think that is the key for social studies teachers, I guess for anybody really. So if you want to be a go-getter, you need to mention that yes, I'm willing, whatever extra assignments that I'll be given, I will be glad to do it. Say that as part of your interview. I think that's a good thing to say. Okay, you are about to go off again, but anyway, so anybody else? I know we practiced a little bit. I said something about we're going to do about the new folks. We did that, and about interview and about who got hired. And then I put others. So this is the others part. Do you have any other question while I am with you? Because if you are shy to say it here, you can just email me and I'll be glad to answer you. Okay. Yeah, you look like you have a confused look still. Maricel. Uh-oh.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I've been attending like Zoom meeting with especially Filipino staff. They have agency also in there in the United States. And my question is like, what will be our like means of the paying you with all these things?
No,
You know that.
Yeah, I don't charge anything. I don't charge anything. It's free. My help is free. And I always ask that you pay it forward by helping somebody else. When you get here,
Okay.
somebody else. Yeah, but then usually I earn my money by helping your school, be your coach. When you come here, I'm
Okay.
coaching the teachers. I am your support. And so like 2 schools right now, Brinkley and Helena, have hired me, and I go there. I drive 4 hours one way, stay at a hotel, and then I actually help them. And that's when I charge them. I don't charge you at all. Okay. So I make the money by charging the school, but I have to be.
That's great to know.
Yeah, I actually
That's great to know, ma'am.
I actually go there and in front of you. You're watching me. You watch me do my discipline, for example, because sometimes it's hard to, it's hard to do the discipline because the kids are like wanting to talk or whatever. So I would say things like, okay, this is my housekeeping. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just raise my hand. And you know what this means? That means that I want you to raise your hand too. That means that zip. Okay. And if you see somebody that's not zip, I want you to get their attention. So then let's practice that. And then let's practice so that when they start talking, I will just raise my hand. I won't say anything. That's all I do. Okay. And then until everybody gets there. And then the other one that I like is like, okay, this is what I want to do. I'm going to clap to get your attention, but you don't clap with me. You clap after I do it. You follow what I do. And then that means that you're going to be quiet and ready to learn. And everybody do that with me after I do it. Everybody do it, please. Everybody.
I'm holding my cell phone.
Do that, okay? So then the students will follow that. Students, when they do that, then that's ready. You're ready for me. Your brain is ready for me to learn. Okay, so that's a very good strategy. When I go in a classroom, I always tell them about those 2 things: the raising the hand and also the clapping, and they seem to like it, even high school. So elementary and high school, they like that. Okay, and some elementary would say ice and they say cream, popcorn, students would say, things like that, just different ways to get their attention. What are some ways that you get your attention for your students? Somebody share. We don't have problems in the Philippines, but you know what? When you come here, you're going to have problems with discipline because they are trying to test you. They're trying to look at boundaries and see what they can get away with. Okay, I'm only 4'10". I'm very short. Okay, but with my voice and with my look, no problem at all. My seniors, no problem. Because it is your authority. It is the voice. I mean, I care about them, but I also care for you to learn. Okay, so I do not demand respect from you. I earn your respect because I respect you also. When you talk, I listen. Okay, so I expect that when I talk, please listen. Okay, and I have them take notes to keep them busy. That's something that you may want to teach is note taking, because according to research that it's supposed to be helpful in retaining the information, because while you are taking notes, you actually, learn thinking. And so that's one way you could also get their attention. But that's the first thing that you set up, is that you are a no nonsense teacher. You care about them, you love them, but they're not going to abuse you by just talking while you're talking. Not acceptable. Sometimes I would just stand there and I would just like stop, and I would just like raise my hand. I would just nod like this. I would just shake my head, and they look like, "Ooh, why is she doing that?" And then they start being quiet. Okay. The difference between Filipino students and the American students are very independent, and there's also a difference with the Caucasian students and the African American or the Black students, the white students will be kind of more of very similar to Filipino students. They would be like, you know, quiet or whatever. Of course, there are some that also misbehave. But in the Black culture, the louder they are, the better. That's how they, you know, in a Black church, they would say, hallelujah, God. You know, the louder, the better for them. You know, the preacher would actually think, oh, I did a good job of preaching because they're loud, you know, all these responses. So that is very acceptable in their culture. But in a Caucasian culture, like my husband's culture, you're so quiet. Like there is a mass and you have to like really quiet. And that is what's good in their culture. See, it's like night and day. So you have to remember that. In a bunch of these Arkansas schools that are hiring Filipino teachers, most of their students are African American, 80, 90%. In one classroom, you might just see 1 or 2 white students. Sometimes it's all Black students. And don't be afraid of that because they're just as wonderful as our Filipino kids and everybody else. They're just as wonderful. You just have to understand that that culture is so different. Okay, they'll come into the classroom dancing or they were just like talking and stuff like that. And don't worry about it. That's part of their culture. I would just dance right there with them. I cannot dance, but I just kind of pretend like, oh yeah, you know, like this, because that is part of their culture. Okay, so remember the difference. There's a question by, who's asking this question? Azi, that TOEFL and Praxis, yes, Arkansas would require TOEFL, TOEFL. Teachers, what was it? Teachers of other foreign language or something. That's TOEFL, TOEFL. You go to ets.org. ets.org is the place where you get TOEFL and Praxis. 2 of the Filipino teachers that are here that I was coaching, they just passed their Praxis to go to the next level. And so we're so proud of them. They took it one time, math. Both of them passed it. And so anyway, but you don't worry about that because the school will help you with that. Okay, a lot of time that the school will pay for that. Okay, but you can research on how much they are or whatever. And you can even look at, you can Google or YouTube, what they are and the kinds of questions that might be asked. And there's some people making videos about how to get ready. You might want to look at those. She said, one Filipina here that's in Brinkley, she passed it the first time. Pass all of them, the speaking, the listening, the reading, the writing, which is an English teacher that helped her, but she said she really did some work. She actually Googled some things, she actually listened and watched some videos on YouTube, and she did all kinds of things in order to get ready. Okay. And I think some of those that did not pass it the first time, they said on TOEFL, they ran out of time. They're reading too slow. And you're given time, like you should spend less than a minute and a half per question. So what I would say is that look at the questions first. There are 8 questions, for example. Look at it first so you know when you're reading, you know what you're looking for. To give your mind a purpose. That is actually a good testing strategy. Read it first. And if you're given a nonfiction is not a story, it's just nonfiction of facts. You read the first sentence and the last sentence of every paragraph. That tells you about what the paragraph is about. And then when you read a question, you know exactly where to go. Okay, that will buy you time. Okay, anybody else have a strategy that they can share? Okay, those are good strategies to use. I have somebody's asking about, is that Arnold? That I saw some openings for the what? Putting position in Arkansas school. Okay, good. So Arnold, I encourage you to go send your application there. Please do not use me as a reference more than once or twice because every school will send you something. One teacher, you have to tell her, please stop putting my name down because there were 3 or 4 already that sent me. That is a lot for one person. So I told her, you can use me, but you can mention me as a reference here that they can call me about you, but just limit to 2. After that, you need to not get me off of it because that is a lot of people, sending me things. So anyway, but in the interview, feel free to mention me or whatever that you can always ask me for help. Okay. All right. That's all I have. I think we kind of covered a lot. We covered about classroom discipline. It's really a good thing to remember. Classroom management. If you want to watch some YouTube videos on classroom management,